yesterday at the White House, Matthew McConaughey spoke to the press corps about the shooting in Uvalde. Now, I have mixed feelings about this. He's a good communicator here, but it seems, from all accounts, he's more conservative politically. So this is the Biden administration doing what they always do, finding a conservative that is going to be the reasonable, and I don't know how conservative he is, but it's not like he's a Marxist people, right?
Yeah, so, he was hedging on, when it looked like he
yeah.
might run, he was hedging a little bit on gun control. I mean, but also, I mean, this happened, Uvalde is close to where he was, where he grew up.
So that's the positive value of it. And I think also the fact that he's a strong speaker and he was super emotional during this speech. Rhetorically, I'm all for that. I am frustrated by the impulse to constantly prop up the more reasonable type of conservative in order to somehow shame a Republican Party that is without shame. And two, I'm also frustrated by this impulse of Democrats to outsource their messaging to anybody, right? Does Trump outsource his messaging to anybody? No, he's the guy. He's going to be the one that says things. He barely gives time to his surrogates. And I think that's more effective. The country thinks Biden's invisible right now. I don't think outsourcing your leadership or your messaging to others is the way to go for him politically. And I want Democrats to have success in the fall. With that said, though, these words from McConaughey were powerful.
That food truck together. We also met a cosmetologist. She was well versed in mortuary makeup. That's the task of making the victims appear as peaceful and natural as possible for their open casket viewings. These bodies were very different. They needed much more than makeup to be presentable. They needed extensive restoration. Why? Due to the exceptionally large exit wounds of an AR-15 rifle. Most of the body so mutilated that only DNA test or Green Converse could identify them. Many children were left not only dead but hollow. So yes, counselors are going to be needed in Uvalde for a long time. Counselors are needed in all these places where these mass shooters have been for a long time. I was told by many that it takes a good year before people even understand what to do next. And even then, when they become secure enough to take the first step forward, a lifetime's.
I mean, of course. He spoke powerfully, and he referenced there the Green Converse, which was a moment when he was speaking where he got emotional because that was the only way that police were able to identify one of the victims, a pair of Green Converse that had a heart drawn on them. I mean, it's gut-wrenching, and there is value, despite, my reservations, in having a talented communicator speak in that way about those issues and a resident of a nearby community growing up in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, your fundamental frustration, I think, is shared with this is being made about basically like a cultural push instead of a policy push, which is very Democrat to do. That said, if we're going to do the culture thing, like I was surprised at how much I watched a few of the McConaughey clips, and I appreciated him up there in place of, frankly, the normal liar that they have running White House press stuff typically, like
the person who is paid to lie.
Exactly. Like
and then gets cushy media jobs
and
after.
Like I don't know, like it's tough. You say, like, is this going to cause a cultural shift? And it's like, well, how many cultural shifts is it going to take?
Yeah.
Because we've had a bunch of cultural shifts that seem as momentous as this, but then you grant that this one does feel like there's some feels different about a lot of these, and then nothing changes.
but like cultural shifts are not replacements for political victories.
Exactly, yeah.
It's just, like that, you know,
they're supposed to signal future victories.
Exactly.
And then we never get to that point. It's like our whole generation learned, like, oh yeah, this Obamacare thing, it's a step towards universal health care. That's literally why I was excited about Obama back when I was a college student. And then you'd find out, like, actually a lot of the coalition is not about that.
Yeah. So I mean, I really again, I don't know what more ways we can communicate these issues to Republicans. I mean, the doctor, we don't need to play this right now, but the doctor who treated the Uvalde victims says, quote, you know, oh, this was the wrong clip, actually. Good. So we don't, but I sent the wrong clip. Just spoke about how the graphic imagery of children that were decapitated, their bodies mangled beyond recognition, flesh intermixed. I'm sorry, but this is the reality. Flesh intermixed with cartoon characters on their t-shirts and their clothing. And like, there's no way to communicate to these people that the brutality has reached a certain threshold. Public opinion is technically on the Democrat side, but it is not a galvanizing issue on election day. So what you have to do is seize power. Make every executive order that Biden can do, he should do. And at the same time, he should be out there every single day shaming Republicans, as opposed to searching in your couch cushions for the one Republican or conservative coded person like Matthew McConaughey from Texas who's going to communicate these issues to shame Republicans into doing the right thing. That's not the way this works. The only way they'll come with their tails tucked between their fascist legs is if you beat them and you win. And frankly, the coalition and the that Biden has compiled is not up to that task. Nor is the Democratic Party as currently constructed, which is why we have to change that party. But like this is why someone like Kamala Harris, who's not visible at all, and frankly is not a talented communicator, was such a terrible pick. Because we know that Biden is older, struggles to communicate at this point in his life, has in the past, but sometimes has moments where you're like, that guy was very good.
Well, also, I think the issue too is they kind of are, like we were saying, I think it's kind of a normie take to be like, let Biden be Biden, but I think there's something to it. Like, I think that where he's the most effective was when he's kind of off the cuff, and a lot of his aides and advisors just kind of rein him in every time he does it recently. Yeah,
he should do more of that. And but you know, that's what just, I guess, another wrinkle in my frustration with this impulse is that you could have had a talented communicator in that secondary slot who would have built something in terms of like a future party candidate. Say Biden doesn't run in 24 or 28, whatever. There could have been somebody who has that ability to speak to these issues like McConaughey is doing right there. But instead you got to bring in a celebrity because the Democratic Party is just lost right now.
I have to give myself an L.
Why?
Because I touted the McConaughey.
Yeah, so we were kind of debating before the show. I was like, am I too cynical about McConaughey?
This is epic.
Oops.
But it appears that he did a photo op with Henry Cuellar, who has an A rating from the NRA immediately after that speech. So.
My guess is that his politics are a little closer to Cuellar than Cisneros.
I just don't know how you speak about dead kids like that and then go talk to an NRA guy.
He doesn't know.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the problem. That's always been the problem with McConaughey. Is like he's a deadly mix of, I think, genuinely wanting to do well, having a folksy personality, but like not having any like sort of the desire to get politically savvy enough to actually do something.
I'd be curious what Griscom's take is on
Griscom is how I found that picture.
Okay.
On his feed. So.
All right. Speaking of Griscom, what's happening on Left Reckoning?
Kurt Hackbarth, we're talking about AMLO and the America Summit and how America is a big-time loser. So patreon.com/Left Reckoning. We're doing summer streams, so our post-game will not be members only tonight. We're going to be streaming it on Twitch. So public post-games all summer, or at least for June.
Whoa.
So, but if you want to support us and our ability to do that, go to patreon.com/leftreckoning.
Okay, well that's tonight, right?
Tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern.
Awesome. I was just like, my brain feels like it's Thursday, but it's not.
Same.
646-257-3920. We will see you in the fun half.